It's Kevin again, Kavissimo with Words of the Age, and these are messages that I'm going to pepper in throughout the rest of the messages, and they involve the actual dreams and visions that I've been getting. Now, and so, when I say, "Oh, I got this dream, I got this vision," well, what are these dreams and visions? What are these things that you're basing these messages on? So I'm just going to go through a bunch of them tonight, the ones that I feel are the most pertinent. This was one of the main ones. This came in, I got this on November 29th, 2011. So this one is a very significant one. This marked the beginning of the dreams that spoke to what we believe is coming, and namely what is coming to the church, the institutional church. A correction that is coming to the institutional church, a, dare I say, judgment. I'm not going to say judgment. I'm going to use the word correction. I'm going to use the word like Daniel used, which is purification. If you're wondering what I'm talking about, go to Daniel 12 and read the beginning of that. There was a violent preternatural storm in the sky, and it was just fire. And these birds were being thrown to the ground. These birds were being thrown to the ground. It was day. The sky was still light. And again, these birds, they weren't black, they weren't white, but they were gray. And they were being hurtled to the ground, all on fire. Whole birds, half birds, still alive. It was so sudden. The storm was so sudden and violent that they were, again, they were suffering and dying on the ground. And some of the birds were just like in half with like a body and a wing, and they were kind of ruffled feathers, but they were outlined in white, and the ground was just littered with debris, like garbage, like just devastation all around it. And I felt the need to videotape it to prove that this is real. So I'm taping this, hoping that someone's going to see that this is actually happening. This is for real. And then in the hills, in the distance, there was a barn and silos, and the storm hit it and destroyed it. And then as the storm came up closer, along the edge of the hills, there was this large. It looked like an abandoned structure. It looked like a curved greenhouse made of fiberglass. And again, the power of the storm hit it like a tornado, just leaving it and just destroying it. So I went and I got my sword to come out and to put these birds out of their misery. But by the time I got out there, they were all gone. And all that was left was the debris. And the dream ended with this curious detail, which was in the area which was ours. It was like a safe place. This little kitten, cute little kitten, kind of wanders in, and everyone in the room said, "That's not ours, it has to go." Which again, for me, was a warning of possible deception, coming in the guise of something cute and innocuous. And again, that's what I spoke of in an earlier dream. This one came in on August 9th, 2012. This one I titled Preparations and the Mountain Waves of Fire. I was on top of a great green plateau with people familiar to me. It was day, and there were many paths crisscrossing the area, and we could see the valley down below. Then we were inside the mountain in a room. We had been receiving warnings to prepare. There were boxes connected with ropes, and there was information about these boxes. That the warnings would come once, then twice, but the third would be the last. But we seemed to have 3 boxes, and the last one had just come in. We could walk around all 3 sides of the boxes, and I seemed to be speaking about this with some kind of authority, because I was the one explaining it. It was my job to explain it. But I also knew that all 3 boxes would be removed at some point, all in one unit. These all had to do with principles of preparation. Then I went outside, and now the mountain was these big, massive rolling waves of fire. They were big rolling waves, big, massive rolling waves like a tsunami, but they were topped with fire. And there was a small bunker there in the side where I was at, and I had no concern for the waves. I knew that I was fine, because I was in the safety of this little bunker. But these waves were imminently coming to crash down. That's another one. Okay, here's one. It came in February 21st, 2012. It's called The Sky Parachutes. I was in a field on a hill and it was day. I was next to a large garden of poppies and a house stood nearby. Suddenly from the sky, thousands and thousands of little teabag-looking objects attached to little white parachutes came floating down. I knew immediately that they were to be avoided at all costs, and in some way I was already kind of anticipating that they were arriving. I took cover under some kind of wooden shelf or a tree. It was like I was underneath this kind of covering, and I took this German Shepherd with me. I saw an image of a man in his 20s with blonde curly hair get struck in the head by one of these bags, and it like kind of took root, kind of like an electric shock. It kind of hit his head, and he just kind of like went numb, kind of like if you ever played the game, what's that video game? Limbo, like when the little worm hits his head. I don't know if you ever played it, but it was really similar to that. And I had this dream way before I even played that game. So it struck his head, and it took root, sending this kind of electric shock through him, and he went into kind of a trance of some sort. And soon after that, a specially assigned medical team came around to round up anyone who was struck and took them away. I knew we were in a special time and that anything coming from the sky should be avoided. And I made my way very carefully to this house that was nearby with this dog. I have dreams like this all of the time.